We're back at it on a Friday. Good to have you with us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. The entertainment just keeps on coming, and so does the absurdity. Ben Carson is supposed to be this smart guy. He says shit that isn't true. So does Rubio. This is now a complete pattern by Republicans. These are the guys that are in the top 4 in polling. So yesterday we do this commentary pointing out that in the debate the other night, Rubio said something that was totally false, saying that welders make more than philosophers. Bureau of Labor Statistics obviously has data saying that that simply isn't true. Now we've got Ben Carson in the debate the other night saying that China is involved in Syria. Now this is really interesting. And if China is in Syria, I guess I'd like to know whose side they're on. But he's coming out with stuff that he can't back up. And this is the failure of the mainstream media to not go to Carson and say, what's your source? Give us a name. We're trying to get this right. You've been complaining about how this vetting process isn't fair. You've been bitching all along about how people are targeting you. And then you come up with accusations about the Middle East that simply can't be backed up. Here's the first cut.
Putting the special ops people in there is better than not having them there because that's why they're called special ops. They're actually able to guide some of the other things that we're doing there. And what we have to recognize is that Putin is trying to really spread his influence throughout the Middle East. This is going to be his base. And we have to oppose him there in an effective way. We also must recognize that it's a very complex place. You know, the Chinese are there as well as the Russians, and you have all kinds of factions there.
The Chinese are there as well as the Russians, and Putin's trying to make this his base. Wow, there's a lot of news there, isn't there, folks? So we know the Russians are doing airstrikes. We know the Russians have got boots on the ground, and China's right there with them, according to Ben Carson. Dr. C stands for Dr. Clueless. This guy has no idea what the hell is going on in the Middle East, nor does he have any kind of solution on how to deal with it. Listen to this.
Some questions have been raised about your suggestion last night that China is involved in Syria. Can you clarify that?
Well, China has been trying to extend its influence not only throughout the Middle East, but throughout Africa and in several locations. And their interest extends into that region as well. I would have to refer you to some other people to get you the actual data, but they've shown it to me.
Who are the people that have shown you this, Mr. Carson? Give us a name. Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know the names of people who give you information? Is it someone in your campaign? Is it some kind of hidden national security advisor? Is it a top secret agent that's gone rogue that has given you information about what China's doing in the Middle East? This is the administration's response to all of this BS.
I really can't speak to what he was referring to, but unless you're talking about having a diplomatic presence, I'm not sure what he was referring to.
Military involvement, which was the implication.
I have not seen any evidence of Chinese military involvement in Syria.
Okay, so Ben Carson has information that the administration doesn't have. I find that very intriguing, and I also find it an absolute lie. Ben Carson is a pathological liar. He doesn't know what the truth is, and Trump has called him out on it. Now, Trump went on his own rant in Iowa yesterday about being a pathological liar, and it's a disease. He connected it to child molesting. I mean, Trump, you have to give him credit. When he gets off script, he's an unguided missile. You have no idea where the entertainment value is going to end up. But the fact is that both Rubio and Carson are throwing out things on the campaign trail and saying things that, number one, can't be backed up, number two, aren't proven to be true. And this plays right into the fact why there are insiders in backroom doors, backroom rooms, trying to do deals to try to get Mitt Romney, come save us. Give us some credibility. We don't want Trump. We don't want Carson. We're kind of trying to build up Rubio, but he's lying about stuff too. And so the story is floating this day that Mitt Romney is being recruited by some heavyweight establishment Republicans. It's a total mess. It's a funny farm. It's entertaining, and it's all screwed up. And at this point, if the election were held today, a Democrat, any Democrat, would walk right into the White House. Because eventually, this is all going to catch up with them. And eventually, as it gets closer to Iowa, I do believe that the media is going to zero in on these inaccuracies and make them a story. I don't know what they're waiting for. Ed Schultz News and Commentary, brought to you by Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team. We're back after this. Hey, folks, you've heard me talk about BioGreen Clean. I'm going to show you right now on my airplane just how tough this is. I want you to keep in mind, chemical-free, 100% plant-derived, biodegradable. It is the safest cleaner that you can get, and it's the most effective. Go to our website, wegoted.com, or go to biogreenclean.com, www.biogreenclean, and order today. It's time to continue our conversation about mechanical insulation. Mechanical insulation is for the piping systems in our nation's commercial and industrial facilities. Facility owners are burning up billions of dollars through the lack of mechanical insulation on these piping systems. Call the iSave team. Insulation saves America valuable energy, and this team of energy conservation specialists is shovel-ready to save you money. Visit iSaveTeam.org to have a specialist give your plant an energy audit.
We perpetuate a culture of crime all the way from Wall Street right down to the main street in our hometowns. It's worse than it has been since FDR took control of the problem and said we can't count on industry taking care of the American labor. They probably have already engaged into some type of criminal cover-up, and the law prohibits the government from even doing anything about it.
Catch America's lawyer Mike Papantonio on YouTube at youtube.com/GoLeftTV.
Thanks for being with us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary on this Friday edition. The endorsements of unions are very important, and they're important because union workers do what they have to do during the election cycle. They work the phone banks, they do the social media, they do the boots on the ground, they knock on doors, they get the conversation going, and they talk up who they're supporting. So it's infrastructure that's important. This is one of the reasons why Karl Rove and the right wing in this country have been so active to make sure that workers lose their rights in the workplace, because that will take down their organization. It's the last bastion of foundation of organization for the Democratic Party and progressive movement in this country. So that's part of their focus. Now, the AFL-CIO has said that they're not going to come out with an official endorsement of any Democratic candidate until later on. They're keeping their powder dry, although some unions have come out and supported Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. One of those unions made a decision yesterday, and that is the American Postal Workers Union, headed up by President Mark Dimondstein, who joins us today. Mark, good to have you with us.
Ed, good morning.
You bet. I want to know where your rank and file is. If every single Postal Workers Union employee and member to your union was polled, is this the answer? Bernie Sanders. You have endorsed Bernie Sanders. I want to know about the numbers, and I want to know about why.
Well, Ed, look, the union and all unions are made up of people from all different walks of life, all different political views. So the executive board of the union, who endorsed Bernie Sanders, can't speak for every member, but we can and should lead, because every one of our members is concerned about making sure that we have a vibrant public postal service going forward, is concerned about protecting good living wage postal jobs, and so on. And using that criteria and taking away party labels and all of these things, Bernie Sanders stood head and shoulders over every other candidate from any political party in terms of his record, in terms of his vision, fighting to save the public post office, fighting to expand and enhance the public post office, and fighting in defense of postal workers. So the foundation of this endorsement is based on Bernie Sanders' record on postal issues and also broader issues that are very important to all workers.
Well, I've spent a lot of time talking about the funding process of the Postal Service about how there are no tax dollars used. It's all user fees.
Right.
And finally, I saw a story in Huffington Post. They wrote it as the Postal Service bleeds millions in losses, mostly due to unique funding mandates placed upon it by Congress. This is the first time I've ever seen any acknowledgement in the mainstream media that it's not poor management as far as the Postal Service. It's what Congress has done by this pre-funding of retirement and health care benefits 10 years in advance, which nobody runs their business like this. So the question begs, and Bernie has been on the front line with you on this. He has said that he would, he's introduced legislation to get rid of this. He says if he's president that he would rework this entire thing and expand the possibilities and also the usefulness of the Postal Service, that there would always be Saturday delivery. There wouldn't be these kinds of negative conversations. So are you winning the war when it comes to educating people about what kind of financial hassle is on your back?
Well, thanks to folks like you, folks like Bernie, the Grand Alliance to Save the Public Post Office, made up of 78 national organizations. We are certainly in the battle to tell the truth, get the truth out to the public, that this is a manufactured financial crisis. The Postal Service is not broke in terms of operations. It's vital in the day of e-commerce. The Internet is not killing the post office. It is changing mail, but it's creating all sorts of new venues, like the package, the need for package delivery to every house, the public infrastructure needed more than ever. So, yeah, I don't know if we're winning the war, Ed, or not, but we're certainly in the battle, and we are confident that truth will win out, should win out, and that's part of the importance of the Bernie Sanders campaign. He's telling the truth, and I think that's why there's so much excitement around the campaign. He's authentic. He's talking about enough is enough. We need a political revolution vis-a-vis the financial oligarchy of Wall Street and the billionaires. We need to protect the public goods, such as the public post office. We need to expand it into areas as postal financial services and banking. We need to fix this pre-funding hoax and crisis that, by the way, was a bipartisan vote in 2006. Bernie's also been on the cutting edge of stopping what we consider rotten nominees to the Board of Governors of the Post Office, and they set policy. And I mean, one of the nominees is James Miller. He's the king of privatizers, and thanks to Bernie Sanders, those nominees have not gotten through the Senate. So
that is the mechanism you're fighting in Washington, is that there are those in position of power who want to privatize the Postal Service.
Absolutely.
And this, of course, would lead us to a lesser product when it comes to guaranteed service to every postal code in this country. It would close facilities. And this is where Bernie has been a stalwart fighter for you, correct?
That's right. Bernie has fought. He's been on the front lines. He's not the only friend in Congress, but he's been really leading the charge, helping to lead the charge to keep post offices open, to keep processing plants open. The Vermont White River processing plant was slated to be closed. Bernie was on the front lines with us. That plant's open, doing well, and so his vision is much like ours: a vibrant public postal service for generations to come, and vital, universal, uniform service. And we're opposed to privatization for the reasons you gave. It undermines service, and it kills good living wage jobs, and it turns into a profit-making operation. And once that happens, it's going to be people's mail service will be based on whether somebody can make a quick buck, and that isn't going to work, and it never works.
American Postal Workers Union President Mark Dimondstein with us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Mark, thanks so much. I think it's a great endorsement. Bernie has earned this one, no question about it. He's been with you guys all along. Thanks so much.
We are very proud to make this endorsement, Ed. Thanks.
You bet. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You bet. This is Ed Schultz News and Commentary. When we come back, a closer look at just what Republicans are saying about currency manipulation in our economy, which plays right into the manufacturing sector and also plays into the loss of jobs in this country to other countries. Who's talking about it, and what impact is it going to have? That's next on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Stay with us.
From the steel mills of Pennsylvania to the auto factories of Michigan to the modern makers movement, Manufacturing makes our nation great. I'm Scott Paul, president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing. We bring business and labor together to advocate for policies that everyone can agree on. Together, we can strengthen manufacturing and create good-paying American jobs. Help us keep it made in America.
Thanks for being here on this Friday edition. WeGotEd.com, RawStory.com, and RingOfFireRadio.com. All right, the highway bill has been approved by the United States House. $261 billion, $55 billion on transit over the next 6 years. The legislation authorizes the highway funding bill for 6 years, but only if Congress can come up with a way to pay for the final 3 years. The bill approved in a big way in the House, 363 to 64. Scott Paul, who is the president of Alliance for American Manufacturing, joins us. Scott, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you, Ed.
This is one of the most positive signs we've seen when it comes to moving infrastructure forward. What has to happen now?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it is good news that the House of Representatives finally passed what would be a longer-term infrastructure bill, because as you know, these road construction projects, they just can't start and stop and start and stop. And I know you and your family have a history in construction. You know that. You need that long-term planning, so it's good that they got the wheels in motion here. I think one of the problems is that the bill's only funded for about 3 years, and that it's status quo funding, so basically keeping what we have now. The Senate passed a different version a little while back, so the House and the Senate are going to try to work out their differences before the next temporary funding patch expires, which is actually coming up quite soon, within just the next week or so. And so I'm hopeful that they'll be able to come to some agreement, and I know that behind the scenes they've been working fast and furious to try to get this done. And I'll also say we're working very hard, Ed, to make sure that all of that money, all of that tax money that's put into our roads and bridges goes to steel, iron, and other manufactured goods that are made right here in the United States, and that work isn't outsourced.
And those plants are idle right now. In northern Minnesota, they're having iron ore issues. Those mines have been shut down because of a slow economy, and not enough product is being used by America, and also the steel industry. We know what's going on there. So this could be a first start to giving them somewhat of a rebirth for a while, or to get these folks back to work. Now, currency manipulation is something you and I have talked about for a long time that deals with trade. It plays right into the products that we're talking about that need to be used in a transportation bill. There's really only two Republican candidates out there that are talking about currency manipulation, and that's Trump, and to his credit, Rick Santorum, who made it a big conversation back in 2012. And by the way, he did win Iowa. This is Trump talking about currency manipulation and how it has to be addressed.
Our country is not competitive anymore. That's why we're losing all of the manufacturing. Now, it's currency manipulation and all of those things that I talked about last night. A lot of currency manipulation. They are doing it brilliantly in China. Mm-hmm. China is a tremendous abuser of the United States. I said the other day, in the history of the world, there has never been a greater theft than what the United States has, how we've been taken care of by China.
All right, now that statement right there is a mouthful. And it speaks volumes about the problem of what we're facing in manufacturing. But he's really the only one, along with Santorum. But do you think they're strong enough to change the conversation and make the Republicans realize that this is really a bipartisan effort that's got to be done?
Ed, it's a great question. And I'll just tell you what I know. I know that Republican voters, like Democratic voters and independent voters, care about this issue. They want something done about currency manipulation. And when I'm saying this, I mean overwhelmingly. It's not even close. Like, you'll find Republicans that are kind of evenly divided on the immigration question, even though their field certainly doesn't really represent that. On currency manipulation, there's no doubt. They want it to be taken care of. And you'll remember, Donald Trump said something that Mitt Romney said in 2012. I'll designate China the currency manipulator on day one. Now, it's easier to say those things than it is to actually get them done. So what I'd like to see, instead of kind of using, the drive-by photo op of the factories that a lot of these men and women running for office tend to do, is a detailed conversation about what we need to make manufacturing more competitive. And I don't blame the Chinese government for looking out for their own interests. I don't blame them at all. I mean, I have many quarrels with how they deal with human rights and other issues like that. But my problem is with the U.S. government and the fact that we have not pushed back at all. And it's something that President Obama complained about. When he took office, he said, I've been dealt a bad hand on China, but I will push back. And I haven't seen it, Ed. I mean, he's done right by trade cases when companies have brought them forward, when the steelworkers have brought them forward. He's done right by them. But we need more than that. We need a really aggressive push to lower that trade deficit, to bring those manufacturing jobs back, and to make sure that China and other countries, and by other countries I mean that some of those countries in the TPP have also manipulated their currencies to gain a trade advantage. Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam. We need to make sure that that's stopped as part of the TPP as well. So I hope there's a more robust conversation about it. I know that Hillary Clinton feels strongly about it. I know that Bernie Sanders feels strongly about it. I know that Martin O'Malley feels very strongly about it. So I think that there's agreement among the Democratic field about this, about currency in particular, as a big issue, which is good to see.
Mm-hmm. And that cuts right to the chase of it all. Scott Paul, always a pleasure to visit with you. President, Alliance for American Manufacturing. We'll do it again. Thanks so much.
Ed, have a great one.
You bet. Hopefully this will be a big conversation with the Democrats on Saturday night this weekend in Des Moines, Iowa, for another Democratic debate, which is going to be on CBS. This is Ed Schultz News and Commentary, brought to you by Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team. Have a great weekend. We're back Monday.